Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon to all our 12 Monarchs out there in Monarch Nation, coming off an 80-20 loss versus North Carolina that puts our final record at 8-4. And I'd like to start out by, first of all, thanking the estimated 5,000 fans that traveled with us to North Carolina, from myself, from everybody involved with our program, our players. We talked about this yesterday in our team meeting, how grateful we are for the unbelievable support we had, not only at the North Carolina game, but all this year. So thank you very much to all our 12 Monarchs. My biggest concern going into this game is that we would be physically overmatched by North Carolina. Going down, we had 25 players that were injured going into this game. We had 5 starters that were out for the season. And the question was, could we hold up for 4 quarters in this football game against a very good North Carolina team? And after the first quarter, I felt really good about it. It was a 14-13 score. We'd sustained a couple drives on offense. We'd made some things happen in special teams with the onside kick and with the muff punt that we had when we punted out of an offensive formation, and they muffed the punt that Taylor hit. We led to a score. So I felt good about it at that point, but from that point on, everything just unraveled for our football team. From a special team standpoint, the good news was we recovered that onside kick early, had excellent execution with that, and we got the muff punt. The bad news was we allowed 2 returns for scores. They had a punt return, they had a kickoff return, and that was something that we just could not allow to happen in this game. Defensively, we were just too physically beat up to sustain anything versus North Carolina. We got the 1 stop early in the first quarter, but after that we were overmatched at every position and just could not come up with stops or turnovers. And something we needed in this game was to get turnovers from North Carolina, and credit to them, they did not turn the ball over, and they simply overwhelmed us in the last 3 quarters with their size, their speed, and their execution. You got to give a lot of credit to those kids, particularly Marquez Williams, their quarterback, who I thought played a nearly flawless game. He was perfect on all of his deep throws, so a lot of credit goes to them as well. And then offensively, the story of the game for us was the fact that we were 1 for 15 on 3rd and 4th down. We knew going into this game we were going to need to convert. We were going to need to sustain drives in this football game. Something we had done against East Carolina, something we had done against Pittsburgh, is we'd been able to convert, and we'd been able to sustain drives and keep our defense off the field as much as possible. And we got into a stretch in the 2nd and 3rd quarter where we were consistently 3 and out, and you can't do that when you're already overmatched on defense and you're already depleted with depth. You need to be able to get your defense off the field, and we just simply did not execute the way we needed to. The one bright spot for us offensively was the running of Gerard Johnson. He had 9 carries in this game for 144 yards. He had an 81-yard run, which was great to see. I was really excited with that performance out of our true freshman in this football game. And I look ahead, I look forward on this. The future looks really bright. I'm really excited about the future of this program. I consider 2013, regardless of what happened Saturday, to be a great success for this program. The fact that we went 8-4, the fact that we were 6-0, our first ever undefeated season at home in our 5th year as a program, and the fact that we got our first FBS win this year. I'm really excited about the accomplishments of this football team. I also feel like we improved as a football program. When I look back to the fact we brought in 14 new players in January, we brought in 35 new players in July, so we had 49 new players come into this program out of the current 90 that are on the roster. And everything that those kids had to learn quickly, everything those kids had to accomplish from our aim high philosophy about being a great person, being a great student, trying to be a great football player, there was so much that was thrown at them in rapid fashion. And for us to be able to have that kind of success really gets me excited about the future. This season felt so much to me like 2009 in terms of all the newness with all the new players coming in. And obviously the challenge for this team was a little bit greater this year with the schedule than 2009, but I'm really excited about the improvement we made. We currently have 90 players on the roster. 68 of those 90 played this year. We were able to redshirt 22 players, which is absolutely critical for the development of this program. The fact those players were involved in everything this season, they were at every practice, they were in every game plan meeting, they spent extra time, they were on a 4-day workout program per week with Coach Martin and Coach Makovic, and those 22 have made tremendous strides. So to be able to redshirt that many players this year is critical for our development. 79 players out of the 90 returned in 2014, and that's the most we've ever had. To have 79 players that went through everything they went through this year coming back next year has me excited. We'll have 8 of 11 starters returning on offense. We'll have 10 of 11 starters returning on defense. Our specialists, we get 2 of our 3 specialists back. We lose Jared Brown, an outstanding player, but we were able to redshirt Ricky Seegers, who's also an outstanding kicker. So I feel really good about our kicking game going into next year. And out of our roster, 57 players return that earned playing time in 2013. I mean, that's a big, big number to have 57 players come back that played this year, played against the level of competition we played with those 5 FBS games on the road. That gets me really excited. 2013 was definitely a youth movement for this football program. We had 13 true freshmen that played this year, and of those 13 true freshmen, 7 of them started at some point during the season. We also had 11 redshirt freshmen that played this year, and 3 of them started at some point during the season. And then we had 9 junior college players that are also brand new players to your program that played this year. So we had 33 players that played for the first time ever in a college football game here at Old Dominion. And when you talk about that process of winning and trying to develop your football team, that's critical for us that those 33 players were able to play this year. We also have our largest senior class we've ever had. We'll have 23 seniors in this class, and when you look at we're going into our 6th year as a program to have 23 seniors, players like Taylor Heineke that are in this class, and when I look at that class, almost every one of those players is a performer for us. Almost every one of those guys has developed throughout this program, and that's great from a head coaching standpoint to have that type of leadership, not only on the field, but to have that type of leadership off the field, setting the tone in the community, setting the tone on campus with everything those guys do. That's got me very excited. And then lastly, our 2014 Conference USA approach. As you can see right here, I've got listed all the teams that are supposed to be in Conference USA this year. We're hopeful they're all in it, right, Bruce? And then number 13 right here, everybody's listed alphabetically. And number 13, I've got Old Dominion University. Because as I told our players yesterday in the team meeting, we will have to earn our way from the bottom to the top. And this has got me excited. It's got our entire program excited. We're out of this transition season and all the challenges that went with it. And now we can look ahead. We can look to being in a conference and having that ability to earn our way from the bottom to the top. Not unlike the approach we took in 2011 when we joined the CAA, and we had that same mindset, that same approach. We've got to earn our way from the bottom to the top, and that'll be the goal of this program in the off season. And at this point, I'll take questions.
Coach, is the game Saturday, is that some kind of guidepost as to where the program is and where it needs to be?
I don't think it's Saturday. I think it's the full body of work. I think it's all 12 games of the year, because Saturday we were a depleted football team going into a game against a hot team that it didn't turn out very well. The outcome wasn't well. But in terms of what I look at for this program, because I've got to look at the full body of work, I'm really excited with the fact that we ended the season 8-4.
Hey, Bobby, you've said all along, first play of East Carolina to last play of North Carolina is how you will gauge. Given first game, you are competitive.
Right.
Last game, you are not. So how do you gauge it? Was there progress, do you see?
Yeah, I feel like in the full body of work, Dave, there was progress. You know, it certainly didn't look like it Saturday. You know, and I can't stand up here in front of you and tell you after we just got beat 80-20, you know, in a game that I requested to be shortened, that looks like progress Saturday. But when I stepped back and I had an opportunity from after the game through Sunday, I was in here 5:30 Sunday morning reviewing, looking at the game, looking at the program, where we are. I feel like we've made tremendous progress as a program. This season was challenging in a lot of ways, and it was very challenging for our players, just from how everything unfolded. Particularly for those seniors. Those 11 guys that went from competing for championships to basically just trying to elevate the program. That's what it came to for those guys, just trying to help the program keep building. But I do feel like we made tremendous progress this year throughout the full body of the season, and I feel like that sets us up well for our future.
What was the mood of the team yesterday, and what did you say to them?
Well, the mood overall, Harry, they were incredibly disappointed with what happened Saturday. We all are. Every one of us within this program, embarrassed, disappointed, frustrated with the outcome, and that's the way it should be. If you're a competitive person and you go through a situation like we went through on Saturday, every fiber of your being should be disappointed. And the one thing that I really like about this team is I like their resolve. I like their resolve overall as a program. And when I talk to them about the game, I talk to them about the season, I talk to them about the decision that I made to request shortening the game. I address that with the players because I always want them to hear everything from me. One of my goals that I have as a head coach is to try to teach leadership and try to teach the players that leadership isn't always easy. Things don't always go well when you're a leader. And you've got to be accountable. You've got to stand up, and you've got to address whatever happens, good or bad. And that's the lesson I try to give to our players. And I talk to them about everything that went into that, and then I showed them next year. I showed them 2014 Conference USA, showed them the non-league schedule. I would have liked to have shown them the schedule next year, but we don't have that at this point. I don't think we get it till, is it February? Yeah, till February. But they're all excited about that. They're really disappointed with Saturday, but they're excited about the future. They're excited about what we're building.
What's the focus in terms of recruiting and development now
Mm-hmm.
over the next several months?
Yeah, it's from a recruiting standpoint, Dave, we're still at the point where it has to be every position. We've got to continue to recruit every position. And I say that because we're still transitioning. We've got one class in that was recruited as an FBS class. This will be our second class that comes in as an FBS class. So there's immediate needs at every position, and we've got to keep building at every position. That's absolutely critical that we continue to keep building at every position because, again, it's only our second FBS recruiting class, and we're currently not at the 85 scholarships. The goal is to get to 85 scholarship players this year.
You have commitments from 19 players. Do you know how many you would like to sign on February 5th?
I don't have a number right now, Harry, in my head because there's so many other factors that go into the class and scholarships and the current team. And, I'm in the process right now of trying to meet with all our players and coaches and go through this evaluation process that we do every year at the end of the year. You walk up and down the hall right now and there's coaches in there meeting with all the players. And what I've asked the coaches to do is meet with all 79 of those returning players, tell them exactly where they are right now, and then tell them where they need to get to in 9 months so we can compete for the championship. So there's a lot of the evaluation part that's still going on. But what I do know is we need to bring in another class like we did last year. That's throughout. That's positions throughout, but it needs to be better. We've got to continue each year to out-recruit ourselves because of this transition we're going through, where we've got to keep getting better. And the level of competition now next year, it's not going to be 5 FBS teams, it's going to be 11 FBS teams. And that's why we've got to continue to raise the bar in what we're doing in recruiting. It'll be critical. I'm on a plane next Sunday. The first day I can be out, I'm out. I'm gone, and everybody in those hallways is gone. 'Cause we've got to go attack it aggressively, and hopefully we can hold on to, some of these guys we've got committed. As you know, that's a challenge, and that's first priority, and then, to keep trying to improve and upgrade.
Your defense gave up about 450 yards per game this year. It's
Mhm.
third year in a row you've had some problems defensively.
Mhm.
Are you satisfied with the scheme you guys have, and was it youth?
Mhm.
Do you need better players, or is it all of the above? Or?
Well, we've got, first of all, I had already met with Coach Nagy yesterday, and we talked about the direction we want to go in. I felt like at times this year, we were limited in how much we could do, because when you've got a lot of new players, you've got a lot of younger players, schematically, you can only do as much as your players can handle. And we were trying to really just get ourselves better each week as much as we could. But we were very limited schematically, and that's going to change next year. We're already talking about packages we're going to add, because now we feel like we've got some experience, different things we're going to do, and everything's on the table. We'll go back to philosophically what we try to do in this program, and that's play to the strength of our players and play to the strength of the players we have at certain positions. So whether we're talking about a 4-3, talking about a 3-4, talking about nickel, dime packages, different blitz packages, we'll analyze that based on who we currently have for players and then who comes in the recruiting class. But there's no question we've got to improve. We've got to get better on that side, and we will.
Anything else for Coach?
All right, thank you all for coming. Thank you again, 12th Monarchs, for an outstanding season. We look forward to seeing you next year.